I gotcha. Okay. 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 Perfect. And so you'll just count me down and I'll just go, right? We're just going to go straight through. Okay. All right, great. I am so glad that these two wonderful people are with us today to join us on the show. Love these guys so much, Chris and Miss Miriam Bear. They are the founders of Keto Chow. You can check them out at ketochowshake.com. I'm so glad you guys are here. I talk about this all the time, and I love you guys. So welcome to the
Well, thanks
show.
for having
Hey,
me.
guys, how are you?
Good. We're so good. How are you?
Can you hear us okay?
Yeah, now I got you. I got you now.
Okay. Nice.
We can
we
edit
just said
that
we're
out.
doing good. Miriam asked how you're doing.
Yeah, we're doing great. Excited about the holiday season. And, I think for both of us, it's a great time because although everybody works on their health at different times throughout the year, as we know, it's that time for us to really where we can kind of double down and people are looking at that New Year's resolution and, it's that new year, new you time where they're wanting to make some decisions. And I think what we're seeing too is that, coming out of the challenging time that we had, not too long ago and still kind of in, people are ready. They're back out. Life is happening again. and they want to get into a new rhythm. And there's nothing better than the keto diet for a lot of people, for so many different things, whether it's weight loss or, like you guys talk about, the mental clarity and the reduced inflammation, just those kind of factors, I think, really grab people. And it's one of those, we're getting a lot of input about keto and questions, and which is a good thing. I think keto is one of those diet plans and lifestyles that it's here to stay, because it's got so much now medical journals that have wrapped around it and that have proven the efficacy of it and how well it works. And that's why I'm excited to have you guys, because you've done something amazing with Keto Chow, and you've made it so it's easy for everybody. Because isn't that kind of, I know that's the tagline, right? but even, but really, there's marketing and taglines, but there's the reality of why you actually made it. So why don't we jump in and talk about that? Because the story really, I just think is so cool. Why don't you just tell, how you guys just launched the whole thing, where it came from?
Well, so Keto Chow launched from my desire to improve my health. I needed to lose quite a lot of weight, and I wanted to do a keto diet, but all of the stuff the research I did said, hey, you had to do this, you had to do that, get your electrolytes, have enough protein, get high fat, no carbs. To me, it seemed pretty daunting. Yeah. And I'm an engineer. I'm very analytical, and I'm also extremely lazy. So if I can do anything to make my life easier, to simplify things, to make it more efficient, I'm always looking for that kind of a life hack thing. And so I came up with an idea for my own personal use, a meal replacement shake that I could mix up, and for any meal that I wanted to, I could use that. And for the most part, it was for my breakfast and my lunch when I would go to work. And then I would come home and we would have something awesome for dinner. At the time, my wife was actually doing Whole30. Mm-hmm. She eventually came around and started doing keto with me as well, mostly because she didn't want to make multiple meals.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's where it kind of all came from, was just my desire to really simplify things and make it easy. And it turns out that other people had that need also, that they were looking for a delicious way to get the right nutrients without all the fuss, and really find something that was successful that could help their busy lifestyle.
That's really great. And Miriam, you doing Whole30, was it just watching his own process, his journey, saying, you know what, this whole thing makes sense? Like, what was the light bulb for you?
Yeah, Whole30 is not that far off from keto. There's only a couple of differences. It's no sweeteners with Whole30, but then you can have fruit. There's your sweetener right there. Right. And then there's no dairy also. And I think a lot of people do keto without dairy too, and so essentially you're doing Whole30 without the fruit. Mm-hmm. So it was almost like a natural step for me to go from standard American diet to Whole30, and then the next step would be to go to keto, because it's almost like you're going one step further into better health, at least for me. And I feel like when I started, I really started to feel a lot better. I think because I didn't have as many sugars, which were mainly in the fruits that I was eating, I could feel that mental clarity that we talked about. That's been one of my biggest, side effects, a positive side effect, is that mental clarity. Right. Another thing that I have had problems with is I have varicose veins and a lot of swelling problems from my pregnancies. And so when I do keto really well, I don't have a lot of swelling, and I just feel so much better. And so it was really a nice, natural, just one more step further into better health for me. So keto.
And that's kind of how that went. And do you find that little bit, right? That's a great. I'm glad you explained it that way, because I think people, when they see Whole30, which is very popular, obviously, and keto, they probably think they're worlds apart, and they're not. And so when you dropped the fruit, because what's funny is when you give somebody the leeway for fruit, it's not just one piece, right? Or not a small little bowl, because that sugar craving and that thing that you've been used to with a higher carbohydrate diet, that kind of fills in that gap. When you got rid of it, was the mental clarity the first thing you really noticed?
Oh yeah, like within a couple of days, how good I felt. I felt so good. And I think too, like looking at other things, like in our journey for health, like there's so many different steps. And, taking that little step closer, like we need to work on so many different aspects, like religious, spiritual, mental, physical, like exercise and stuff. And sometimes we're not ready for all of those steps at once, that you can just slowly get closer and closer, a step at a time.
Baby steps to the car.
Yes, baby steps, atomic steps, right?
Yeah.
As Dave says, Ramsey says, baby steps, right? So you
Right.
take them. And I think if you can get someone's eating right and get them going down the right path where there's not a lot of resistance, which is what you guys have done, which is why I love it, is you've made it with a gazillion flavors, right? You've outdone Baskin Robbins in this thing.
That's the actual number that we have is 1 gazillion.
That's right.
You really do have a lot, which is just awesome, because you can't ever get tired of it. And I use it myself and love it. And it's like, of course I've got some of my favorites, but I mean, still there's just like so many. And then you got the broth type flavors, and it's the soup type deal. It's just, there's so much with it. I love it. But I love how easy it is. And I want to go back to that, because when you look at keto, Miriam, you said this to me one time and it just really, really hit home. I think there's a level of overwhelm with keto, right? Like you see the keto chefs and you see, maybe something online or a blog or something, and there's all these ingredients, right, of what you have to do in the kitchen just to be able to get into that keto way of doing things. And it seems overwhelming, especially if somebody has, 5 kids and they're working and the whole thing. So talk about that. Talk about how you guys with Keto Chow wanted to help that person realize, hey, look, you can take a baby step. This is not hard. If I can do it, you can too.
Oh yeah, for sure. Like that overwhelm is real. And I think that you could easily get burned out, because you find some things that you can eat and you just eat the same thing over and over again, and you can get burned out. And you do need to, cook, learn how to cook. That's always the best thing to do. But when you can have, that you can have a shake that's going to hit those macros, that's going to hit the vitamins and nutrients, and it doesn't have to be the highlight of your day. Like, it's delicious. It's really good. It's really fast. But I think you can say, hey, I have this shake. I know it's convenient. It's easy to grab. It's already made. I don't have to think about it. I love it. And then you can work on your learning, your education, getting those specialty ingredients, and then play with the meals until you can master what you really like. And then you have those meals, but you can also continue to use the Keto Chow shakes because they're delicious, convenient, quick, and just that easy to grab, and that you don't have to worry about those ingredients. So.
Yeah. Well, and it's interesting because when I started a keto diet, I was not good at cooking. I could make ramen, I could make toast, I could throw chili and mac and cheese. We're on the same team. Yeah, I know. And that's kind of one of the reasons why I also made Keto Chow, was because I didn't have that proficiency of being a master chef. And so I needed something that I could rely upon as kind of, I guess, as a crutch, for lack of a better term. Right. And after having that for a while, I started to learn some of the techniques. Actually, last night, I smoked a bunch of prime rib roast that is now in the freezer and is going to be going into the sous vide. I never would have done that before I started keto. I just didn't have the wherewithal to do it. But it's something that people need to learn how to do, is to cook that sort of stuff. And I really like having Keto Chow as something that I can lean upon. Mm-hmm. And it's also really nice to have that for, say, our children. We have kids that are still in school, and some of them do not manage their time very well in the morning. And some of them are doing keto. And the ones that are doing keto, for them, I really like having Keto Chow available. Just, it's sitting in the fridge. Some of it is like a couple days old, and that's okay. It lasts like 6 days in the fridge.
That's right.
And then so you can just grab it out and go. And so for them to be able to have that where they can just grab it and leave and drink it at school, and then you make sure you wash it out because you don't want to let those get really funky in your backpack. But I really like having that so that I know that they're getting something that's nutritious.
Yeah.
And that's one of the other things that we're really passionate about is the quality of our ingredients, because this is what we give to our own children, and this is what we eat ourselves. And so we're not using the cheapest ingredients we can find to make as much money as we can.
Because you could make it a lot.
We absolutely could. Instead, we're using the highest quality ingredients because this is our personal nutrition and the nutrition of our children, some of which are using ketogenic diets to treat things like depression or anxiety or things like that. It's crucial to us. And so we're not going to cheap out. We're not going to skimp. It's very important to us and something we're very passionate about.
Yeah, something. Yeah, go ahead, Miriam.
I was going to say another thing too, like with how easy it is to prepare, you can just kind of place that, that meal out of your brain. You don't have to worry about it. You really can spend good quality time with what matters most, because you don't have to spend as much time in the kitchen prepping. And then you can spend time prepping, together for a really nice family meal. You say you do Keto Chow for lunch, take it to work, on the run, grocery shopping, whatever.
I'm not eating Keto Chow for Thanksgiving.
Yeah, you love it. But then you spend the time, making that meal with your family and enjoy it with your family. So that's, you can do what you want to do because you freed up a little bit of time.
I think that's a great point too. And with the kids as well, it's one of those things where if you do have multiple kids and both parents are working and it's a challenge and you don't want to put a bowl of, junk, I don't want to name names, but junky cereal, right?
Junky cereal, there you go.
Right. And, you don't want a bunch of little leprechauns in a bowl. Right? We just don't, we did that as kids and we know how that turned out. So we've learned so much since then. And I think with what you have done in putting it together, it's great because kids, like, how do your kids respond to that? It's like an orange cream this morning, or if they want chocolate, or, do they get excited about it? Do they like it? How do they react as a kid? You know what I mean? Like, what are their responses?
Yeah. Most of our kids really, really like it. I think we have one that it's her form of rebellion that she doesn't like it, which is really funny. But all the other kids, if they can't figure out what to eat, they will go for a Keto Chow. And sometimes they go for a Keto Chow just because they like the taste.
It just lets them be able to do time or spend time doing what they want to do as well. And they don't make a huge mess in the kitchen either. Of course, children need to learn how to cook, and our children are actually teenagers, so they do know how to make food.
They know a lot better than I did.
Yeah, so they're
for sure.
They're okay, but it's just really nice to be able to grab something and go, especially with the schedules that they have now. They have a lot of activities and dates and things, and so they like it because they do feel better when they have the right nutrition. And I think a lot of times kids, especially, like, they grab a soda and a donut at the high school. Like, that's not the best thing for them to be eating.
And our parents aren't old. They're not, they don't have memory issues or something like that. But we do know a lot of our customers that we talk to who they use Keto Chow because they know that they can give it to their, dad who can't remember anything, but boy, he likes a chocolate shake.
Mm-hmm.
And at least they know that he's getting good nutrition. He's not eating a bunch of junk. I mean, it's kind of like, yeah, well, I'm not going to name brands either, but yeah, it's a good way to get nutrition into older people as well.
It really is, because that game right there of what's being produced, in a lot of ways, I've never really been excited about, and to have products like this that are there that can be a true meal replacement. That's what I love about it. It's not like it's just some powder in a can that's kind of close, and it really has all the nutrition in it that you would need for a meal to be complete. And whether you do, I've gotten to the point, because I'm always on the go and in airports and planes, trains, and automobiles, right? I love the fact that I can just keep a ton of those packets in my backpack or briefcase and a shaker bottle and just go. I mean, because I'm taking protein in every 2-3 hours the way I do my eating plan. And so it makes it great because I'm never in a pinch. I've always got them. And so you do that and a handful of nuts, you're good to go. I mean, if you're...
Well,
if
and
you're
heaven forbid you ever end up on a feeding tube, but we have had people who they were on a feeding tube. They had mouth surgery and they could not chew anything for a couple of months.
Mm-hmm.
And they were quite literally surviving on keto, Jeff.
Mm-hmm.
And again, we don't recommend using it that way, but it is designed so that you can if you wanted to.
Man, that's amazing. I never even I'm glad you brought that up, because I think that, in those times where someone is even post-surgery, right? Let's say that they have to do soft foods or liquids for 7 days, right? But for whatever, they had a digestive something. And I mean, what a great tool to be able to use. Matter of fact, I'm going to start talking about that more. I think this gave me a great idea. No, I mean, seriously, that's a great. There's a lot of people that we talk to and hear, in our radio, TV shows and whatnot, that reach out to us for that kind of thing, and we bring that up, but I think bringing it up in that manner is really good. So the complete nutrition of it is really what I love, and the quality of ingredients. That's why I'm such a huge fan. I mean, regardless of what I think about you guys personally, which is awesome, what your heart behind it and why you do it, your why. I think that's just what I love, because I know for a fact that as we get people using this and their families and their kids, I mean, it's like generational. You could, they could be 95 or, 5, and it's going to benefit them in a lot of ways.
Now, the lawyers will want me to point out that.
Go ahead. I
we
figured.
Personally use Keto Chow. Our children use it. Keto Chow is not indicated for use by children, nursing, or pregnant mothers.
Right,
so,
right.
It's
on the label, right?
Mm-hmm.
My kids use it all the time. I know lots of doctors whose wives used it when they were pregnant. So
yes,
mm-hmm.
And I'll follow you.
But yeah,
I'll follow you. Let me follow you with this. So the great thing about this is that even though we know that Keto Chow per se, and keto doesn't diagnose, treat, or cure, right? We know for a fact that using a keto diet and getting your body into ketosis does reverse conditions, and it does heal the body in many different ways. Diabetes included.
That was a fantastic show, wasn't it?
Oh my gosh. Yeah, the show that we did, phenomenal. So, I mean, reversed, I mean, the title says everything. Yeah. So I think we're in a time too where, and again, it gets down to semantics and we all have to watch what we say, but at the end of the day, with keto, the great thing that I like about it is you're not really, I mean, it's in the research. Like we all know it now. Even all the doctors, we all know it. Like you can't argue it. It's one of those things. So it really is making a clinical impact, in people's lives. And that's what I get excited about. Hey, talk about your approach of like starting small. Like if somebody's looking to start this thing, right? They want to like, okay, you guys have got me fired up. I've been wanting to do keto. I'm on the fence. I'm teetering, but it seems kind of overwhelming. What is the thing you talk about all the time where it's like one meal a day and then the rest are shakes, kind of like a breakfast, lunch, and then, a healthy meal at dinner? Like, what's that way of breaking it down so it's easy for people?
So typically when someone starts, we like to say, okay, find a really simple, keto meal list. And then if you're going to use Keto Chow, just pick one meal to have that be like breakfast or lunch. Figure out what you already like that's on the list, right? So say bacon and eggs. You want that for breakfast? Have bacon and eggs for breakfast. Have a Keto Chow for lunch. And then have something else for dinner that you already like on your list. Like you like hamburgers, broccoli, salad. Great. You can have all those on keto.
Mm-hmm.
Or more bacon and eggs.
Mm-hmm.
Or
right.
hamburger patties and eggs. I mean,
that's right.
And really, you just got to find a few things that you already know you like. You don't have to introduce a ton of other stuff into your diet because you already have preferences. So figure out something you like that's on the list, and it just makes it so simple. Don't count macros. Don't figure those out yet. That's like another step, right, in the journey. But
that's right.
Figure out what you like. Throw a Keto Chow in there, in the like with 4 ounces of heavy cream, like the simple, easy way we recommend, and then give it a couple weeks.
Tell everybody that basic, the whipping cream. Like tell the little mini recipe for the shake. Go ahead and go through that.
Yeah, so you can use different amounts of fat, and you can use different fats. It's pretty flexible in that. Like you can use butter, you can use avocado oil. But that said, generally for new people, what we recommend doing is using a shaker bottle and about a half cup, which is 4 ounces of heavy cream. And usually there's a line on the side that you can just put 4 ounces in there. We sell a starter bundle that has a shaker bottle along with 4 different flavors, 6 packets of Keto Chow, so you can try out different flavors. And you would just tear one of those packets open, put it into the shaker bottle, fill the shaker bottle up to the bottom of the threads, close it up and shake it up. And now you could drink it right away, but it actually tastes better if you let it sit for at least 30 minutes. If you can make it and let it sit overnight, then it gets really, really good. Mm-hmm. If you've had a experience with a protein shake before, and you think, oh, it's going to be kind of chalky and gritty and just kind of like,
yeah.
No, this tastes like melted ice cream, like legit.
Really good.
You took a Wendy's Frosty and you left it sitting on your desk for too long.
I'll never forget doing it the first time at the show and drinking it. You had them all in the refrigerator. I was like, oh my goodness. Yeah.
So and that's just kind of a good way to start. And like Miriam said, you could if you're just starting off keto, you could use Keto Chow for say breakfast, or you could use it for lunch when you're at work. If you wanted to, you could do one for breakfast, one for lunch, and then make a big keto dinner. It's really flexible. You can replace any meal that you want to with Keto Chow, or if you wanted to, you could do a keto diet without using Keto Chow at all, and we think that that's fine, and we're here to support you on that as well.
Wow. See, that's awesome. Go through the starter kits, because that's kind of a new thing you've come out with. Just walk through that, because again, it's great for someone that's a newbie, right? But yet it's a great kit that, kind of advances into some other kits. So go through those if you don't mind. That'd be great.
Yeah. So we've got kind of the basic one. That's the one I was talking about. That's the Elite kit. And it's just got 6 different flavors. Essential. Sorry. The Essential. Thank you, Mary. That just has 6 different flavors in a blender bottle.
They're most popular.
Yeah. We've got a small, medium, large sort of thing. Like, you just want to dip in your toe, you want to kind of go big, or do you really want to go for it? From there, we have the premium kit, which that is, it has more in it.
We also have in the premium kit has more flavors and more of them. And then it has a blender bottle, and then we have some of our electrolyte supplements that are in that kit. So another thing that Chris forgot to mention with the first one, the Essentials, there's a digital download of a little starter guide.
Oh, yes.
So that is in there. And then with the premium kit, the actual printed copy of that starter guide is in there.
Oh,
So
some
you,
electrolytes.
yep, and then I also have a tape measure, and you're encouraged to take measurements. One thing that we've noticed with keto, well, I mean,
That's a
in
great
the
idea.
world, everywhere, right? Men think about losing weight, they lose weight. Women think about losing weight, they gain 10 pounds, right?
Right.
So
Right.
what we typically see is when the men start doing keto, they'll lose like really quickly.
Lose weight.
They'll lose a number on the scale,
Yeah.
and women will lose a little bit at first, and then it'll kind of stop after a while. But they tend to lose inches, and so even though they're stepping on the scale, the number hasn't changed in 2 months or whatever, but they've gone down 3 pant sizes.
Yeah.
So
Wow,
if we
yeah,
encourage
right.
everybody to take measurements on the scale, and then kind of keep a record of that. So in that little start, in the premium start kit, there's a little place for measurements. So we can encourage that too. And then the last one is the Elite, which is like the big mama kit, and it has a new guide that has a whole list of
Restaurant.
foods. It has restaurant recommendations and a whole bunch of other keto tips, in addition to a lot more flavors and more of them, and then our different electrolyte supplements, and then blender bottle, two blender bottles. So it's really just a great way to just get started. You can go all in with that bigger kit, and you have all the tools that you need to be successful. With keto, yeah.
Yeah, everything you need really is right there, and then they can get it set up like an auto like a monthly deal where they can kind of plan out what they need, and it'll just come right to them, right?
So with that one, it's a preset kit.
Okay.
A monthly subscription. We're actually going to be launching that sometime later in December.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
We have a subscription you can do right now, but we've taken the feedback that people have given us over the years, and what they're looking for is something that they can customize, like a My Box.
Mm-hmm.
And
Got
so
it.
that is
Okay.
something that we are really close. We're actually doing the final testing right now to make sure that everything is working just the way it's supposed to.
Oh, that's going to be great.
But these starter kits are just set, and they show you exactly what flavors are in them. They're, commonly liked flavors that we have, and it's just a really great entry point. You can buy it, see if you like it, try to get some feedback, and also, like, we have a really big community that will, give feedback and help with some support. Another thing we found is sometimes people doing keto are alone. And we want to have a support system built up so that we can be able to support them and be friends and be the people when they ask questions, and we can say, hey, you're doing a great job. Don't give up. You got this. And I feel like we have that with Keto Chow. And a lot of times, like Chris was saying, if you don't want to use our product, that's fine. Like, we can still help you along the way if you want our support. We're happy to be supportive there.
Yeah. And to go back to the why we have these preset ones is, you were talking earlier that we have what was the term you used? Really a lot of flavors.
A gazillion. A gazillion. That needs to be the official
gazillion.
word.
That's right.
Yeah.
And a lot of times that people run into choice paralysis.
Mm-hmm.
It's like they're like, oh, there's a lot there. I don't even know what to get. But we have the preset ones of our most popular, so that people can hop in. There's some that it's a slam dunk, like the chocolate peanut butter.
Mm-hmm.
There's other ones that people are kind of like, I don't know about that, like the pistachio or the banana. And it's fun for people to try it out, and they're like, oh yeah, I like the banana. That's really good.
Yeah. And they sometimes are surprised, and that's what's nice to have kind of a bundle set for you. You can say, well, I know I'll at least like half of these, and then you're surprised when you like more of them.
Yeah.
So.
Right. But I think that's a crucial piece for everybody is to come up with a way to customize it so that they can build kind of their own little Keto Chow world, right, inside your world, because that's why the community is important, because everybody is just coming together and they're finding their rhythm inside of this Keto Chow world that makes it easy for them, which really is the ultimate goal. Talk about just briefly the electrolytes, because it's a hot topic. We talk about it a lot, not just with keto, but in various areas of health and why they're so important. But talk about how the electrolytes get depleted? You don't have to get into the major science of it, just the basics. And then how often that people should use the electrolytes? Like, should they just squirt it in their shake each time they drink it? Or, what are kind of your thoughts on that?
So our electrolytes are a little bit different, and you can find electrolyte supplements everywhere, in every form, it seems like. But ours are a liquid. They're concentrated, and they have no flavoring or sweetener added.
Color or
they
caffeine.
do have a taste.
Yeah, they taste like minerals.
Definitely. They taste like minerals, which is what they are. But they're really, really nice for people who are sensitive to a sweetener or a flavor or have allergies or something like that, because we all really do need electrolytes. Our soil has been depleted over the years, especially of magnesium. And we can't, I think a lot of people don't really know that they're depleted in electrolytes. One thing that our friend Dr. Berry has taught us is that our body self-regulates the minerals, the sodium, magnesium, potassium specifically, and it will pull from our bones and our muscles when we don't have enough. You get blood tests done, and it looks like you have good levels.
Yeah,
your doctor can say, hey, your levels look great, but you have osteoporosis, right?
That's right.
Because your body's pulled that magnesium out to utilize it. So it's hard to kind of tell if you need it or not. And we're not doctors, of course. And so what our philosophy is, try it, and just keep playing with it until you can get a mix that's right for you.
Yeah, and especially if you are feeling like you don't have a lot of energy, if you have a headache, if you've got cramps, those are all kind of good indicators that you need more electrolytes. And that's one of the reasons why we like the liquid version. Is it's already in solution. It's the ionic form. It's very absorbable. It's bioavailable and all that other stuff. So it's the form of the magnesium, of the potassium, and the sodium that we can actually absorb, and you can add it to anything you want. Now, we usually don't add it to our shakes because the shakes actually have a lot of electrolytes in them already.
I was going to say they already have them in there, so you just kind of maybe add it away from meals, right? Like in your whatever liquid you're drinking or whatever, right?
Exactly.
Okay.
And for the most part, now this is kind of a general statement, but for the most part, it's very difficult to get too much electrolyte. You can, and I've done it. You usually end up with expensive pee if you get too much. But
that's right.
What will happen is, like Miriam was talking about, our bodies our bodies know what electrolytes do for it, and it will crave electrolytes. I know that's from a movie, but your body really does. It really does crave electrolytes. And when you introduce like sodium, magnesium, potassium, your body will recognize that, and it'll be like, you know what? I need some more. So what I usually do is if I feel like I'm low on electrolytes, I'll get a bottle of water. I'll put some of the electrolyte drops, because we have 3 different ones. We've got electrolyte drops, which is balanced sodium, magnesium, potassium. We've got the fasting drops, which are mostly sodium, and the magnesium drops, which are mostly magnesium, strangely enough. Interesting naming convention. But the electrolyte drops is what most people want if they're just trying to help with hydration, they're working out, they're playing sports, things like that, or they're doing a ketogenic diet. And so I'll just squirt some of the electrolyte drops into water, shake it up, and then taste it. And if it tastes salty, just a little salty, I'm like, okay, that's enough. My body thinks that's probably about what I need. If I taste it and it doesn't taste salty,
it doesn't taste at all,
then I'll add some more, shake it up, try it again. And I'll let my palate regulate my intake and just let that just guides me, and it works really well for me.
That's a really good way to do it. It's a good little self-analysis way of doing that. It is, because you said it. You said it in a really good way, Chris. The electrolytes, once it kind of tops off, like once your body tops off, it'll just spill over into the urine and whatnot, or your stools might loosen up because of the magnesium, but it's nothing that is is harmful. But the good thing is when you're topping off your electrolytes like that, you know for a fact that by taking in the larger amounts of proteins and fats, that you're going to stabilize everything in the body. You're not going to have to worry about osteoporosis. You're not going to have to worry about lack of performance in the body. So,
Good stuff.
It's crucial to do that. So I think that's great. So, and last thing I want to jump into, because we've got to wrap up here, and I could talk for so much longer, but we've got to wrap so we can finish out the show. But talk about what's coming up, because we've got Black Friday, right? So
Yep.
Black Friday's here. Talk about what's going to happen. How long are you going to do it for? What are we doing with Keto Chow?
Well, we've got a bunch of stuff on sale. That's good.
Yeah.
That essentials kit that we were talking about, the very first starter kit with the digital download, that's on sale for Black Friday. So that'll start at midnight. That's actually the first time we're launching that one. The previous one was a starter kit that has similar flavors, but these ones are a little bit switched. We've got our more popular flavors in it. And so we have that, and then we have...
And that all goes down at midnight Eastern time.
Yes, starting
Midnight
Eastern. And we have 50% off on a couple of bundles that we've kitted together. There's a fall kit that has a bunch of fall flavors, including the 4 different soup flavors.
Yep.
That's
and
50% off.
It's got, for all you basic wife people, it's got the
pumpkin
spice caramel and some eggnog.
Yep, and then we have the classic, a kit that we made as our original 10 classic flavor, 8 classic flavors, which is, chocolate, strawberry, banana, those ones that are the ones that...
Both of those bundles, it has 21 of the individual packets, and those bundles are 50% off.
Yeah, so it gives you a nice variety. It's not exactly those starter kits we were explaining earlier, but it's still, a really good place to start, because it's such a deep discount. And then we do have a couple of doorbusters. We have a fun little glass ice cream glass, and it has chocolate, strawberry, and vanilla in that. That's $25, and that's the doorbuster. And then we have a free vacuum flask with an order of $100?
Yeah, orders over $100.
And those will probably run out really fast.
Everything else on the site is 10% off. We've got a new flavor launching, which Asa, I think you actually might have tried. I think I sent you some of that. And then we have some new stuff as well. Some other. What's that?
Which one was it? The new one?
It starts with Irish and it ends with cream.
Yeah.
Oh, that one. That is, yes. It's amazing.
Then we also have some other stuff that's going on sale Cyber Monday. There's some stuff that is going to be a surprise for people, but the other sales are going to be continuing on.
Yep. So the whole site is 10% off, and then you have those deeper discounts.
Make sure to go to ketochowshake.com. Go check that out, and you'll see all the deals and the sales coming in for Black Friday, Cyber Monday. Of course, I'll still be talking about it here and reminding everybody. But Chris and Marion Bear, just the founders of Keto Chow, I love you guys. Thank you so much for being on the show. As always, we're going to do it again here soon to talk about going into Christmas and talk about some other just topics within the keto space with Keto Chow that I want to jump into. Again, I could do this for a long time, but I want to thank you for being here. Thank you for taking time out. Happy Thanksgiving to you guys, and have a great holiday time with your families.
Yeah, you too.
You too.
Okay, God bless.